Hi there, I'm Heather Morgan with Kiss the Cook, where we're keeping it simple in the kitchen. First, I wanted to introduce you to our dog, Georgia. If you hear any doggo noises in the background, she's the culprit. So, today's post is a Be Basic post. And remember, a Be Basic post is a post for beginner cooks to help them build confidence in the kitchen. And we're going to cover one of the most abundant, one of the cheapest, and most delicious protein sources out there, eggs. We're going to scramble an egg, we're going to do an egg sunny side up, and we're going to cover soft boiled eggs. And at the end of the video, we'll do a beautiful breakfast plate presentation so you can see how a mix and match matrix works. So let's get cooking. Okay, now for the star of the show, we've got our eggs that we're going to scramble. So because this is a Be Basic post, I want to make sure everybody is on the same page and knows how to crack an egg. Seems simple enough. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it on the side of the bowl. You can do it on a hard flat surface. And I'm going to do it on a hard flat surface because it's a little more forgiving. This creates a lot of little egg shards that can break your yolk. So when you break it, you're just going to give a little pop. You're going to see this little weak spot on the other side, and that's where you're going to stick your thumbs. And then you're just going to split the egg apart and let it fall into the bowl. Now try to practice not breaking the yolk because sometimes your recipe will call for an egg with a whole yolk, like an egg over easy, simply. Doesn't matter for this particular recipe because we're just going to be scrambling the eggs. On my second egg, I'm going to teach you how to remove the yolk. The reason I'm doing that is I actually am trying to reduce my cholesterol a little bit, so I'm going to have a 2-egg scramble but with just one yolk. So I have all the protein, but not all the fat. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit that moderately hard, and you've got the weak spot on the other side. You're going to slide your thumbs in there, but this time you're just going to turn your egg slightly to the side, and then just pop off the top. And you're going to see all the goo kind of come out. That's the whites, that's your protein source. And you're going to transfer that egg yolk over to the other side and just try to really get all the yolk out of there. Now you can save this for another recipe or you can compost it. Now to make your eggs really creamy, people do all kinds of things, right? You can add a little bit of shredded cheese. You can actually mash up some butter and scramble that in. But I have a little secret that's one of my favorite ways to make scrambled eggs. It makes them really nice and creamy. It might seem strange, but it really does work, and I encourage you to try it just at least once. I use Hellman mayonnaise, and you can't use Kraft because that's too sweet. I suggest either a store-bought brand that's similar to Hellman's or Hellman's itself. And we're just going to add just a little bit, a little squirt, okay? Like half a teaspoon. And I'm also going to put just a sprinkle of salt in there. And we're just going to scramble that up. But that's it. So now we have our scrambled eggs ready to go, and we're ready to cook those. Now, I have always used cast iron pans and gas for cooking. So you may need to make some adjustments if you have, say, non-stick pans or an electric stove. In any case, for your eggs, your scrambled eggs, you want to start with a medium flame, and you want to get your pan up to temperature. So you just kind of put your hand just above. Obviously don't touch, you don't want you to get burned, but you put your hand just above it and you can feel the heat coming off of it at a kind of a medium temperature. And I'm just going to put a little bit of canola oil in there and let that roll around a bit. And I'm also going to add just a small pat of butter. The butter should not burn. It should just bubble. If it burns, your temperature is too hot. So see, it's nice bubble action there, but it's not burning. And then we are ready to put our eggs in. So the key with scrambled eggs, see how the eggs create a nice little skin? You just want to keep moving that around so they don't overcook in any area. And just before it's done cooking, you turn off the stove. So I've turned off the stove because we're almost already done. See how fast it is? And you just keep flipping them around a little bit, folding them around the pan, and then you're ready to go. Okay, the second way we're going to cook an egg today is sunny side up. And again, you're going to want to get your pan up to temperature, about medium flame. And once you can feel that heat coming off, we're just going to add a little bit of canola, just like we did with the scrambled egg. And also, like the scrambled egg, we're going to add just a tiny pat of butter, mostly for flavor, and, well, I just love butter. It just adds so much richness to food. So again, should bubble, but not burn. So we're going to crack that egg on the side. Again, split it with your fingers right in the middle, and try to drop it down without cracking or breaking that yolk. Now what I like to do with my eggs when I'm doing sunny side up is actually cook them with a lid, a nice tight fitting lid right on top. I'm going to adjust that temperature down just a little bit. It's running a little hot. And the reason I put a lid on is so the top of it cooks. So what we're looking for in that egg is to have that yolk have a nice opaque covering, and once we reach that, then the egg is done. Sometimes to help, I'll take my little spritzer bottle, just open that up, give a little spritz, and close it, and that enhances the cooking time. Just kind of slide your spatula underneath. Make sure you're supporting the yolk so it doesn't crack, because this is a pretty soft, softly done egg, the way I prefer it. And we're just going to plate that. All right, there is your beautiful egg. A little bit of salt and pepper. And you can plate that with any of your mix and match items. Pick out a nice fruit and a nice vegetable, and then maybe some grits or some toast, and you're ready for breakfast. Next, we're going to cook a soft boiled egg. And this has to be one of my favorite ways to eat an egg. It's just really warm and rich and creamy. And they're really simple to make. So first you need to have a nice hard boil on your water, and enough water to cover the top of the egg. Normally what I do is I will turn down the water once I have that hard boil. So when I gently put my eggs in with a slotted spoon, they won't get roughed around too much, because you want to be really gentle and not crack those shells. So then we can bring that temperature back up once they're in there. And we're going to put that in for exactly 6 minutes. So have your timer ready, because if you cook it for more than 6 minutes, you're going to wind up with a hard-boiled egg, which is fine if you're wanting to make deviled eggs, which are absolutely delicious. But if you're going to eat the egg by itself, I highly suggest doing a soft-boiled egg. So we're going to let this cook for 6 minutes, and we'll be back. So while those eggs are boiling, we're going to just grab a handful of spinach and sprinkle a little bit of salt on there. And we're going to slightly wilt this by putting it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, depending on the strength of your microwave. And we're also going to serve some cherry tomatoes, sliced in half. So we have those all ready to go. And of course, one of my favorite things in the whole world is avocado. And we're going to learn how to cut this bad boy. Let me take the sticker off. And we're going to take the little nubby off the top so it doesn't interfere with our flesh. Then you're just going to slice on one side and then just bring your knife all the way around until you get back to where you started with the cut. And we're just going to slightly twist and it should break open nice and easy. So we're just going to take half of that and you're going to use just a simple butter knife and you're just going to slide it around the edges and then underneath, and it should pop right out. And then you can slice it any way you want. And I just slice it. And then I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon in there and a little bit of salt, and we'll be all ready. The timer has gone off on our eggs, and we're going to take those out with our slotted spoon and just slide them into some nice ice cold water. Not for very long. It's really just to help contract the egg, the flesh portion inside, away from the shell. So you just want to cool it long enough until you can handle it. It's not very long. So you're going to crack this egg the same way that we cracked the scrambled egg, but we're going to add a little trick to it, a little tip. So you're going to give it a little crack, and then you're just going to either tap all the way around or roll to get that shell loosened up from the flesh. And then we're just going to peel the eggshell off. And if you did it right, you have to be very gentle. If you did it right, it should peel right off because of that ice water. Now I'm going to tell you that for some reason, and there must be a scientific reason behind this, but I find that white shelled eggs are easier to peel than brown eggs. I have a terrible time with brown eggs. So today I used a nice white egg. And there you have our beautiful egg ready for breakfast. Okay, we just need a last couple of touches on this beautiful meal. I'm just going to put a little salt over everything, a little bit of pepper, and just a squish of lime, actually lemon, excuse me, just to make everything a little brighter. Then you're going to take your egg and you're just going to make a little slice through maybe a quarter of it, and you're just going to split that open. And there's your meal. Beautiful.